It was beneath overhanging steel where Babylus and Titilus appealed for possession of a baby. Created in God's image to judge a nation, and regally seated too high for them to see, King Solomon pursed his gates and permitted they greet him through prostration and admiration on their knees to plead.
In this court, one of us has lied, one of us has not. One of us has turned to pandemonium and pacified his relationship with God. You have little time to make your case, so I suggest you do not bore.
As widows in the slums, together they raised their young for 20 days and 21. Morn broke, but no morning broke through Titilus' visage when he found his babe and found the pillow.
"Oh, Babylus, Babylus, you overlaid youth. See, this babe is yours. My babe here."
"Liar,"
Babylus retorted, staring at the sordid sight before him.
"Return my child, for I have thought of a twisted plot I'm certain you're employing."
Titilus hesitated, gripping the child with her innocent eyes, and waited a while for the shocked Babylus to continue.
"The courts will prove you've taken my world, and now our world will punish you."
"And so it went for my baby, Sol, Babylus and I,"
Titilus concluded, eyeballs swimming and eyelids colluding to spin a contorted vision compelling. Unsure but so sure, Babylus spoke.
"Obviously, your highness, you won't be taken by this plying tongue. He's a liar. He's holding my young ransom with a gaze and tone befitting of a demon. Even seeing him I'm seething. See? That minor bruised arm was of my accidental making. Those protruding ribs were crafted by the father and Adam and its mother and myself. Not he."
The courtroom stayed still, frozen by the chill that ran through the bodies of those who watched.
"And yet you argue with me. Your supposed child stands 12 feet away, and your mouth moves calmly. Titilus cried for your loss, and you're hot with self-righteousness, not love. So here's my decision. Hand me the babe, and I'll make an incision from any angle with perfect precision, so you might both leave satisfied." "Ha ha ha. Ah, Titilus, you shake. Your head makes movements much like Babylus's mouth made. Frantic and desperate. This is clear to me, as judge and jury, that I should execute upon my conscience, and my conscience tells me this. Titilus, your family is safe from the rage felt by he you once called a friend, for he will meet his end in our jail up on high."
And so the sentence was concluded, and the men were ushered to their issued institutions. One, crying and nursing the child of the silent other to the free world, fortified in his actions, while the other walked 5 floors like a lost soul, escorted across the Styx, through to the 7. He did not weep. On the 207th floor, Babylus was bedeviled by the labour cast by a king to his lower. For 40 years of solitude, punctuated by work without gratitude, was what made his days. His nights were spent shaking, his cell walls breaking at the seams to let the cold into his veins, and he was chilled. He was furious. Memories of his child and Titilus would haunt him through the worst of it, when blood would show and his tears would arise, but never fall. Building each cell atop one another like God, or Frankenstein, or a writer, whatever creator one would prefer, anguished by that creation, that blasphemous project, projected by the astral wants of Solomon, to wander the clouds, each floor existing for the one above, each floor housing malefactors and the lost in a vertical labyrinth of woe, each floor. 2 more years, countless more floors, but the nights had begun to show the reaped rewards of that he'd sown in secret while the moon was aglow. For each time a dove would land in his cell, Babylus would extend a hand to God's sign until it would approach. When it would, he'd stroke the creature's neck before snapping, plucking, and throwing it back. In rags he stuffed the feathers, waiting for the right time and weather to dare for his escape. His plan was thus.
"When working in the sky, I will use engineered wings to glide from the cloud scraper to safety. Cold will serve as double agent to freeze the wings and take me from the pinnacle to the base. The rest of the journey, guided by hate, concealed by the feeling of fate conspiring against me all along. Songs will be sung of the man who flew too close to my sun and was hung from the wires of the slums. Sweet songs."
And that day came quick. The ramparts were slick, the rain and sleet from where October and December meet. The wings were bone and sinew and gore, sticking together through clever thinking and violent one. He screamed,
I am Babylus. My pelvis and tendons have been shattered by the desire of kings and traitors like Judas and Ephialtes Trachus and Marcus Junius Brutus and Jesus. Let us not forget Titilus, the worst of us. Icarus be damned, I will land, take my son, and end my foe's reign. No reign will stop me. 'Tis not my enemy, but my friend.
and then he leapt. His words stayed fragile in the annals of his chest as he glided through the heavens, bluing fingertips frosty in descent, and his wants for revenge were put at rest, along with the other wants. The wants for song and sun and freedom, all gone, melted away by the intensity of that winter ride. Miles from where he resided and miles from himself. Babylus's cells collapsed through the fall, elbows peeling and tongue tearing off. Hypothalamus resenting the cold until... nothing. Warmth. And then he landed.